Every time they'd break new ground on Burnt Store, 30-year-old body discovered on Burnt Store Road. Like, yeah, it's because it's where they used to fucking dump them back in the day.
Jesus.
They found a bunch of bodies on Burnt Store Road during all the construction.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it would happen all the time. Well, I say all the time, but it probably happened like 3 times in like fucking 5 years. Like, oh, body discovered in fucking construction site, Burnt Store Road.
There's
Oh, the listeners.
and the other host over there.
Oh, the listeners. Hello,
Very
Clarice.
nice.
I like the NPR voice. That's pretty good.
Have they silenced the lambs, Clarice?
Welcome
What's
to
up?
our TED Talk.
What's up? What's up, OG5?
Oh.
It's another episode of the What's in Your
Welcome,
Head
everyone.
podcast. The consistently inconsistent podcast.
Oh, yes.
We're coming to you live. Well, we're recording it live. Which, by the way, all you fucking assholes from recorded live in front of a studio audience. Well, no shit. That's how it works.
We're not recorded live in front of a studio audience.
I'm alive. Are you not alive? Is Morgan live? Are we not recording this live? We
I'm
are
dead.
live right now recording this. This isn't
I'm dead
recorded
inside.
yesterday. This isn't recorded tomorrow. This isn't AI. We're
Well,
recording
yeah.
this live.
I'm dead inside.
I watch this great George Carlin clip. He would be fucking losing his goddamn mind nowadays. But this is a stand-up bit from like the 90s, right? No, it was like
Right.
80s. Here's early shit. He's like, why do we need almost a borderline Seinfeld bit? But he's like, why do we need 1 hour photo? What's so goddamn important that you can't live with the memory for more than 60 minutes? You must have a reminder of what just happened within 60 minutes. It's like a complete waste of money. It's like, dude, if you only fucking knew, now we got to have that photo in 2.5 seconds. We can't have it in 60 minutes. The
Yeah.
idea, not only that, but photos literally cost you money to shoot. When I was in black and white photography class, you want to talk about a tremendous waste of fucking time, energy, and effort. 8 semesters, Morgan. I finished 8 semesters of manual black and white photography using 35 millimeter film. I can load film into a canister under 8.5 seconds in a fucking darkroom. Is that talent that can make me money today?
No.
Well,
But yeah, you would buy a
I
roll
took,
of 35 millimeter film, 24 frames. It would be in 1990 money about $12 to $15. Actually, no, about $8 to $12, depending on the speed, which was not cheap back then. You're talking tacos for 38 cents. And so if you do that math, 8 something divided by 12. So let's just say 875 divided by 24. Each one of those photos cost you roughly about 37 cents. Actually, no, that math didn't come out right. I can't use the calculator.
I'm an idiot.
My cat's breath smells like cat food. So let's do minus 24. So, yeah, you're talking roughly about 15 cents or, 15, 20 cents per photo. You
That was
couldn't just
big money back in Morgan's day.
And that's before you developed it.
yeah.
And in
That
Morgan's
doesn't-
day, they had
yeah,
to do the whole
chemicals
glass.
and-
They had to do the whole glass chemical plate where he had to go in the dark
Yeah.
room and open the glass plates and put it in
Oh
and then
gosh,
carry it out in the dark.
when I
and get
took
that hood over
photography, I had to flip the hood over my head and hold the thing that actually lit off with the spark for the flash.
There's a guy on TikTok.
Wow.
I will send him to you. There's a
To
guy
sit
on,
there with exposure for 15 minutes?
Yes. I will send him
Yeah.
to you. There's a guy on TikTok out in Colorado. His clothes are all chemical burned. He has an old fucking creepy pedo van because it's a mobile darkroom. And he mixes the chemicals. He does the glass plates. He has it in the box. He slides
Come
it in.
let me take your picture.
He puts the burlap thing over his head and waits, and then goes and develops in his fucking van and pulls out these glass photos of the mountain ranges. It's insane. And to think that was the way to do it.
There's a knack for stuff like that nowadays. Like there's a niche for it. Like everything has its little niche, and there's like a little following for shit like that. Like that fucking kid.
Yeah, that fucking kid.
Like,
that guy.
He's
that fucking guy.
He's like that fucking Mr. Beast. But that kid David Dobrik,
Don't know him.
and he's fucking. At this point, he's probably a billionaire, but he got famous from Vine. And he blew up with that. And now he's like, multi-millions of dollars, got a fucking big ass mansion in Beverly Hills or whatever the fuck. He brought back, he made it a trend to use disposable cameras. Disposable
I
fucking
remember
the
that.
ones that you buy at fucking, you remember Eckerd's back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
You go to fucking Eckerd's, you get a disposable camera, you rip it out of the cellophane pack, and you get 12 shots, and you wait for that shit to fucking develop. He brought that, he made that trendy. So
So
now that's a thing that's all of a sudden coming back, disposable cameras.
you got to forgive the young lad, Morgan. He's too young to know. You know what disposable cameras are called?
Huh?
You know what disposable cameras are called?
What?
Cameras for fucking poor people.
Yeah.
They didn't want to pay the aforementioned, $150 for a camera or $75 for a camera and then $12 a roll. No, you would just go pay the $9,
Right.
shoot it, and then still pay the $15 development fee. But
Right.
yeah, is that the guy who goes around and says, no, there's another guy who goes, is that the guy who goes around and says, hey, if I give you this camera on your vacation, will you send me the pictures? Have you seen him?
I don't know if that's him or not, but I'm not sure. I think I've seen somebody that does
Because
something
that one's
similar
actually
to that.
cool. He goes to the airport and says, hey, where are you going? We're going to Spain. If I give you this camera and my card, so the people he don't even know goes to Spain, gets drunk, takes 24 photos, mails it back to him, and he develops it, makes a digital slideshow out of it. It's kind of cool.
Right.
Did you hear the big news? The truth has finally been set free because we have the most transparent administration in history. The golden era is about to start. Yeah, they came out with what the New Jersey drone shit was about.
Oh.
Yeah, we lost Morgan. I done scared him. He done RUNOFT'd. Wait for him to come back. His mama done RUNOFT'd.
He turned into a toad.
That is the movie that I will not turn off if it comes on.
Oh, that's a fucking classic movie. That's so good. I love that shit. My brother used to play the soundtrack to it when he was driving around in his car.
Let's see. Let's send him an invite.
He rented that. Well, remember when you could go to the library and rent movies?
Technically, you borrowed them because they didn't charge you.
Right. But you go there. He borrowed that from the library one time.
Great story.
The Oh Brother Where Art Thou DVD actually.
Don't know how.
VHS.
Don't know how it works. But remember back, well, you can still do it, but back in the day, it was a big thing, and it was pay-per-view. Right?
Yeah.
When pay-per-view, well, Morgan's come back, so wait. Still got my cough from 3 weeks ago.
And there he is coming back in for the geriatric hour.
I had to go take my medicine. Matlock is on. I had to take a break to go watch some Matlock.
I'm gonna miss MASH.
Oh, MASH is on. So joining us from the senior citizen in Wisconsin, it's Morgan Long.
Welcome to the geriatric hour.
I forget what I was talking about now.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So back in the day when pay-per-view was relatively new, and I don't know how you pull this scam off. And I think of this every time the movie Tin Cup comes on TV.
I like it. It's a good movie.
I saw it many years later. Actually, no. At the end of the story, I'll tell you when we finally saw it. Tin Cup got to pay-per-view. I don't know. What year did Tin Cup come out? Like 1993?
I don't know if it was that old.
Tin Cup. I didn't know it was Rene Russo.
Mm-hmm.
Really? 1996.
Ooh.
7.
Really? I thought it was earlier next. I graduated in 97. Okay, anywho. So
No. Was I right?
Tin Cup is
I was thinking
1996.
96-ish.
Yeah, romantic comedy, 1996.
That was off the cuff. Straight from the dome.
Featuring Kevin Costner and Rene Russo, who, if you want to see the one woman who will give a 27-year-old, the chick played in the original Smokey and the Bandit.
Sally Field.
There's nothing finer than a fucking 20-year-old Sally Field and fucking Smokey and the Bandit. But if you want the perfect dictionary definition of the word fucking hot, like cougar, 30, 35, I maybe, how old was she in that movie? Renee Russo. Not in Tin
I
Cup.
bet you she was 40.
Renee Russo. Oh, what the fuck, man? Oh, I'm just all over the place. Thomas Crown Affair. Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. You ever seen Thomas Crown Affair?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mike?
Who? What?
Renee
Sorry,
Russo and
wasn't-
Thomas Crown Affair.
No. Might have been a little before my time.
Yeah, so Renee Russo is 45. You want to see,
In Tin Cup?
No, and Thomas Crown Affair. We'll get back to Tin Cup.
Okay.
If you want to see the God's image of fine-ass 45-year-old, watch the sex scene in Thomas Crown Affair with a completely naked Renee Russo. You'll send me thank you emails. Anyhow, back to Tin Cup. So Tin Cup comes out, movie theaters, does well, and then hits the old pay-per-view. Back in the day, you young kids, before it hit HBO, the paid-for service, you could pay a premium and watch it on pay-per-view. We get a bill for Tin Cup on pay-per-view. Now, the only way to activate pay-per-view is I think you could call a phone number back in the day, or you would have to do it through your controller. But I think this had to be the phone number route. We got a bill for Tin Cup. And my dad's like, well, how was Tin Cup? Beats the fuck out of me. I didn't watch it. I'm a junior in high school. Like, I give two shits about Tin Cup. My brother was left. That's interesting. Next month, we get billed again for Tin Cup. And then I think you could actually call and check your balance to see what movies you're in. Because I remember him saying, first off, I never saw a Tin Cup. I sure as shit didn't watch it 9 times. Someone had hit our fucking pay-per-view 9 times. Now, I can understand if it was Thomas Crown Affair, young 16-year-old Don got to squeeze some off to fucking Renee Russo. But no, this was Tin Cup in 1996. And so every time I see the name Tin Cup, I just hear my dad saying, I never seen Tin Cup, let alone 9 fucking times. So yeah, somebody just had a fuck. Maybe Renee Russo's super hot in that movie, and somebody just got our phone. But I don't know how applying it to our phone number made it show up on one's TV. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe that's why it's telling you my phone number is 8. Some old man's trying to get Tin Cup, ordered it 7 times. Why can't I see Tin Cup? Because you're fucking adding it to my dad's account, you dick.
Oh.
I just had
were much simpler back then.
Yeah. Hell have no fear like a woman scorn. So I remember in the summertime, as we've talked about in the past, I would spend the school year with my dad. In the summertime, I would go live in squalor and below the poverty line with my mom and shop with food stamps and hang out with my mom's alcoholic boyfriends through the day and, shoot guns and BB guns and, all the good fun stuff, like family things where you walk through the neighborhood and see what cool items you could, procure, fun minor theft, the good things. She was dating this fella named Dallas. That's a good, strong name. Well, Dallas made the mistake of putting my mom's cable in his name. And so it's summertime.
Oops.
I'm 13 years old. Dallas is in the wind, and my mom's pissed. Now, there's nothing more a young 13-year-old boy in a trailer in the middle of the fucking woods likes to enjoy than 80s and 90s movies with unnecessary boob shots, like Ski School, for example. And so at 13, I'm going through the list of every fucking, 80s, 90s teenage boy Porky's, fucking Ski School, anything that anything that's going to have at least 1 or 2 tit shots. My mom's just throwing it up. Boop, 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 boop. Fuck you, Dallas. I'm sure his goddamn cable bill's through the roof because I probably watched every one of those guys. My cousin's coming down. We're both the same age. And I got 2 13 boys all fucking hopped up on, hey, let's watch Ski School again. He's probably like at home, I never seen Ski School at 9 fucking times. Oh. That's just, yeah, that's one way to stick it to them. Nowadays, they just go on the internet and say, this guy's an asshole.
See, we didn't need to do that in my generation. I mean, we had the internet, but it was pretty easy to fucking steal a nudie mag DVD that you would, because they would always, it's like every once in a while they give you like a free sample that was in a fucking nudie mag on the shelf of a fucking uh whatever fucking store you would go into, and there would be like a in the back, because it was all cellophaned up and whatnot, and you could just fucking open that shit, throw it in your pants pocket, be a hoodlum.
Now, you
So-
18 and 19-year-olds are probably thinking, what sort of degenerate was Mike to be publicly shopping for pornography, which was a thing. But no, I forgot all about that. You
Yeah.
used to be able to go to 7-Eleven, Circle
Yep.
K, and up
There was a
behind the fucking
magazine
rack next to the
shelf.
cigarettes,
Yep.
they are all covered in Mylar. All you could see is the chick's face in the title because all the rest of it was covered up with a Mylar screen. But yeah, you could
Yep.
get your fucking Hustlers, fucking Jugs, Playboy, Skank, all that shit from your local 7-Eleven. Now they get all hoity-toity. We don't sell vape. Well, back in the day, you used to show ass to ass fucking
That's
stuff.
right. Yep.
Yep, I forgot all about that. But yeah,
Front cover to rear cover, you could get fucking titty mags right there at 7-Eleven.
Stan and Hanny looked at me like I was crazy when I brought up the concept of hedge porn.
The old Hedge.
The old hedge porn. Like, what the hell's hedge porn? It's like when fucking the other 13-year-old dudes would hide their dad's Playboys in the bushes in your neighborhood. Or you live in Kentucky, every development was surrounded by woods. You'd go out there to fucking trail and somebody's inevitably stashed a Hustler, you know. So at least in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio, most 13-year-old dudes, their first vision of pornography was via hedge porn, or, you know, someone's older brother in their back, come here, look what my dad has. Yeah. But yeah, they just thought I was the craziest concept in the world, hedge porn. I'm like, no, it was a thing.
Absolutely.
See, back
I'm
in
from clear across the country, so
yeah. Back in Morgan's day, that would have been all magazines and whatnot.
No, that would have been fucking cave drawings.
yeah, I was just gonna say it was,
Or
it was
etched-
carved in stone in
or
the cave wall.
drawn on a fucking
Fuck
leather
you.
canvas with a quill.
See,
7
he-
years ago, this
See,
woman met a man.
He
It was
had the
called Two
original-
Girls, One Chalice.
He he had the original like Playboys and stuff like that. You probably had like VHS tapes and whatnot.
Well, I had that in high school, but back to my
I had
mom.
DVDs and the internet.
Well, here's the thing. So, roughly around
It was
19,
way easier.
16 and 97. So we go 97. So maybe 92, 93-ish. I was in middle school.
Sure.
My mom had a ex-husband. It was in the wind. He had a decorative tin, about the size that you would see nowadays. It has the popcorn in it around Christmas, but this was more substantial. This wasn't that light. This was a high-quality tin. It was in the closet in the room that I slept in throughout my summers.
USA made and certified.
What's this? This is a cool little drum. Pop the top off. Light came out. The singing of angels. I look in there, and it's nothing but Playboys going all the way back to like 1985. My summer was fucking set up and ready to roll. I had an entire library of my mom's second husband's fucking porn stash and his decorative tin nicely tucked away in the fucking closet. So yeah, you could find this stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
Back to what I was talking about before Morgan fucking dropped out, before we got into the topic of hedge porn and decorative tin porn and all kinds of other porn. So we have the world's most transparent administration. They finally came out and said what the drones were. And wouldn't you know, it's exactly the same goddamn bullshit the Biden administration. I was like, come on, don't even have, if you're going to say verbatim, they were aircraft that were designated permission to fly by the FAA in order to procure and conduct experiments and other things, i.e. military aircraft. Leave it the fuck alone. And then my favorite, because I got to add this in, and the FAA, and remember the Biden administration said the same thing, the FAA had recently allowed drone enthusiasts to fly at night, and they got overwhelmed with drones. First off, fucktard, I'm a drone enthusiast. I can't afford a drone the size of a Honda Civic. They're probably, I don't know, $700,000 or more. So, do you have like a millionaire drone club in New Jersey where you got, I don't know, 6 or 7 millionaires who can afford $700,000 drones that are the size of Hondas? And if you did, If you did, if they're true drone enthusiasts, what is the express purpose of a drone for an enthusiast, Mike or Morgan?
I would imagine it's to let everybody know you got a drone.
Mike?
I don't know.
The basic function and reason one
Movie
owns a
video.
drone is to capture aerial, video, and or photo footage.
Sure.
So, under their hypotheses that we have this crazy gang of fucking millionaire drone flyers who can afford 700,000 drones the size of Honda Civics, and the entire world wants to know why all these drones. You're thinking if Don, the millionaire, had a $700,000 drone the size of a Honda Civic, and I had all this footage of New Jersey at night, and everybody in the world's wondering, what the fuck's up? You don't think I'd maybe want to get some views on my YouTube channel by, I don't know, posting the shit? You're trying to tell me you have, 50, 60 drone enthusiasts who have $700,000 or more to buy a drone the size of a fucking Honda Civic, not a lawnmower, a Honda. That was their phrase. These are drones the size of a Honda Civic. They're enthusiasts. Where the fuck's the footage? I ain't seen one TikTok video, one YouTube video, one fucking Instagram reel, one fucking anything of someone saying, that's me, this is my drone, fuck you all. No, because it's bullshit. And I get you can't talk about it. I get that it's bullshit, but don't. Before Trump got angry, I'm going to tell you what's up with the drones. And then they come out 4 days, we're going to tell you what's up with the drones. What's up with the drones? It's the same bullshit the Biden administration. Well, fucking thanks a lot. Good thing you're in the open. I get it. You can't talk about it. Why? Because they're military assets. Fuck the drones. What about the orbs? That's the real question. Now I feel like George Carlin. Fuck the drones. Let's talk about the orbs. But no, nothing. That's a big fucking nothing. So good thing we got that off our fucking minds.
This was brought to you by the
on
Digital 410 Media YouTube channel. Go subscribe.
Because if we had a $700,000 drone, you can goddamn would have footage. Because
That
we have
fucking
footage.
video's getting posted right there.
Because
son.
we got a $230 drone, and I got to use footage for fucking everything. So you can only imagine the quality of the $700,000 variety.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can tell what Don is very passionate about on a regular basis.
I'm over the bullshit.
I think everybody's
So,
over the bullshit. I mean,
Did we ever get the JFK report out?
No,
I
but
thought
apparently
we got the non-redacted. We discussed that, didn't we? We got the non-redacted
Yeah,
version or whatever.
I'm kind of in
I
the
haven't-
dark here lately, so
I haven't read it, but word on the street is they probably should have kept the MLK shit tucked away because people are referring to him as P. Diddy Sr. So apparently I haven't read it. So this is this is apparentlys and supposablys and all the legal jargon that get media sources allegedly
Strictly speculation.
But the people who have read it are all going on to fucking TikTok blank face like. So apparently Al Sharpton, not Sharpton, but MLK and a couple of other his contemporaries were essentially doing the same P. Diddy shit back in the day. It's like, maybe they should have kept that shit quiet.
there's like have you ever watched Drunk History?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a drunk history on that where they were trying to blackmail him by sending his wife, back in the day, I guess it'd be audio, an audio sex tape that was supposedly him with, at least one, if not more, females.
But none of that's surprising, though, right? As long as they're overage, none of that's surprising. That was like the thing back then, right? That if even JFK had Marilyn Monroe, I mean, fucking everybody was. That shit was like if you were.
That was like the worst kept secret in the world.
But the point is, if you had money and power, everybody knew you had at least 5 on the side. Unless you're one of those too busy protesting too loud about homosexuality because, on your off time, you're at the fucking rest stop on the interstate trying to find a fella. Remember those days? You hear on the news?
No, I don't remember those days.
Oh,
why don't you enlighten us, Don?
Sure. So back in the 90s.
What do I get for a 20?
Back in the 90s, you would hear all these news stories where people were getting arrested for, gay prostitution and this and that at parks and rest stops. And as we talked about a few weeks ago, Oh, did you hear about the homosexuals? They're having sex at the rest. No, the closeted guys who are married, who are pretending, who talk about how much those are the ones having sex at the rest stops. The gay guys are at their apartments having sex with their boyfriends in the open like anybody else. And so, they would try to, it's the homos. No, it's the fucking straight guy, the homos who are pretending to be straight, who don't want to fucking come out of the closet, because they've worked themselves into a lifestyle they can't get out of. They're the pillar of the community. And so they got to get up on their pulpit and scream their homosexuality, anti-homo rhetoric, but then at the end of the day, they're sneaking off. It's like, just fucking come out of the closet and be free, dude. And so that shit would happen all the time. You'd hear Howard Stern talking about it, they had to close down the Howard Stern, because he actually had a rest stop named after him. I remember they were talking about it got shut down because of that shit.
Really?
Yeah, because all these closeted dudes who passing themselves off as straight or whatever, they just couldn't bring it to come out and either be open or be in the closet, but in respectable, clean environments. Instead, they're going to rest stops and city parks and going out and recreating real shrub porn, hedge porn. You know what I mean? It's like you couldn't take your kids to the park or rest stops. It's like, oh, okay, close your eyes, Johnny. We're going to go here and piss in the dark. I don't know. It's just all fucking nuts.
It's also fucking hysterical.
Yeah. Those are the quaint days. Remember that? Those were our big problems. God, can we go back to the days where we're just fighting about restrooms? Can we go back to those nice, peaceful times?
Peaceful.
I'm gonna. I gotta come clean with you guys.
Uh-oh.
There's been many a times where I've walked into a Starbucks or a gas station or a restaurant that had single unit stalls. It's just a toilet in the room, so they have the lock on the door. There's been many a times where the men's room's been full, and so I identified as a woman and went and pissed in the women's room. Because once again, it's a single unit stall. No one's in there. You go in there and shut the door, take a piss, and leave. And that's where the whole thing started, right? Because I remember.
You're talking about the single with the lock.
Yeah,
door.
and
that's different.
But that's where it all started.
Different.
That's where back in California, it was like, hey, we got way too many people, not enough bathrooms. So these single unit rooms, there's no reason to have a men's room when it's just a toilet in a fucking room. So they changed them to unisex. Or start fucking flipping their cookies. Those are the quaint days. But yeah, that's where it started.
Even in North Carolina, I'd say probably 10 or 15 years ago, like even the Walmart there, it had a men's room.
No, I thought you were going to say they still had their whites only signs up.
No, it had a men's room. It had a women's room. And then it had the unisex family bathroom, which, was for you to take your kids into, or, it was more of a private type of bathroom.
Or if you're a 17-year-old boy who works at Publix and your buddy got a text message, you demand to see you fucking lock his ass in that bathroom until he fucking releases the goods, and then he'll
exactly.
Exactly. I'm familiar with those bathrooms.
Exactly. See, that I think, okay, get the fuck out of the women's room. If it's multiple stalls, it's one thing if you genuinely make a mistake and you're rushing and you're like, fuck, the first door, and you're like, bam, I'm in there, and you're fucking dropping a hot load,
and you hear,
and all of a sudden, I was gonna say, and all of a sudden you start to hear fucking 6-inch pumps walking across the tile, and you're like, oh fuck.
That could be my Vietnam vet neighbor that's wearing the pumps in the men's room. You never know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd say if you're gonna do, the whole bathroom situation, make a couple of extra bathrooms in the fucking Walmart that are for whoever the fuck wants to go in there.
They have those. It's called for the staff. I like to have arguments in my head so that when they come to fruition, I already have my fucking rebuttals lined up.
Right.
And I remember, and you guys can, Mike, you can definitely attest to this. Morgan, you can too. As a service person who spends 8-hour shifts driving from job site to job site, one often has to take a shit. Now it's gauche, frowned upon, bad manners to blow up the bathroom at your customer's location, right? So your job is to do so either before or after leaving said location. Sure. Now, we all know gas stations are out of the fucking question. I have
Typically.
personally found the cleanest restrooms in town are either pharmacies or Publix. Why is Publix bathroom so clean? Because they got 13 managers on duty at any time, and if the bathroom's dirty, they'll find someone to fucking clean that shit up, right? Publix has standards. I went to Walmart one time, the one in Del Prado, and that bathroom looked like a fucking bomb went off in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I walked out there and I see a manager. I said, let me guess, you guys got your own bathrooms in the back, huh? That way you don't see. Yeah, actually, we actually do. I was like, yeah, exactly. You guys ever go in these and see how fucking bad they are because you're shitting in the back?
That's funny.
Yeah,
it's like Dane Cook said back in the day, why are all public restrooms fucking wet? There's paper on the stalls. There's always a Nazi fucking swastika carved in the door. It's not fucking drawn on, it's carved.
He's like, who's the
fucking Jews?
He's like, who's the, can I take a shit on fucking Jews?
That was one of the funniest ones to me. It's never just drawn on, it's fucking carved
with a key. How mad you gotta be taking a shit? Fucking Jews. His other one was when you're sneaking in the house and you got hardwood floor and every step's like, help me. Try to sneak in and you're not wake your wife up or your parents.
She loved you.
You
gotta wash your dick and balls. Top, left, right. Top, left, right.
Let's talk about unintended consequences. Like me choking from that vape hit. So my boss came in the other day. He's just fucking just worn out. I was like, what the fuck happened to you? I've been up since 3 a.m.
Ooh.
Why? Couldn't sleep. Couldn't sleep, huh? Nope. Why not? I don't know. I said, it wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that you decided to get healthy. I've had this cough for fucking since I've been sick 2 weeks ago. Hold on. Let me just hold on so I can get this shit out of me.
Since before we went camping.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking guy was like, you want to go camping? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right. And we get out there. He's like, oh, I'm sick. Motherfucker. I just got over being sick.
Well, it's not like we shared a tent or even a fucking kayak, asshole. We were no more, other than when we ate, we were no closer than 20 feet apart.
Hey, don't talk about our personal time.
Are you choking over there? Come on. Get your shit together. Thou shalt ingest a satchel of Richards. That's one of my favorite lines ever. Your boss came in at
what's
fucking...
hold on. We can edit this shit out. I'm still fucking dying. What's that fucking highfalutin tea that everybody drinks? Fucking oh god damn it. Earl Grey.
Earl Grey?
Yeah.
Is that what you're drinking?
That's not what I'm drinking, but that's part of the story. I'm just getting the information here so as we go through we can
yeah, that's very good classy man's tea.
Earl Grey.
Yes.
Is it Grey Poupon?
Possibly. But Earl Grey with a little milk, very nice.
Yeah.
It's very, very enjoyable.
I've never had tea. I've never had like the English way of like milk and sugar and all that stuff in it. Is it good?
I don't like the sugar, but tea with just a little bit of milk, I can enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we won't even go into this because now the fucking math isn't like the search that came up when we were looking at work is not coming up. So
the math isn't mathing.
Fuck.
Took a hit of that vape pen.
Never mind. I can't find it, so it's without backing up. Long story. Whatever.
So,
go ahead and go. I'm just dying. You guys can talk.
Well, actually, I had a question for you that kind of.
I had a question for you, Coffee McGee.
Cover real
So,
quick. I gotta get something to drink. Go ahead and talk.
uh,
Talk about whatever's on your list of shit. Carry the show.
Don't worry, we'll put it on our backs.
so while while it's just a couple of old soldiers here for a second,
Sure.
um, I was scrolling through my socials the other day, and it was kind of interesting because I have like a lot of people that I grew up with
Hmm.
that never left the West Coast and are
Sure.
very unhappy about our current political situation. So um, I got to thinking, it's interesting how a lot of these people that I grew up with still hold the same political ideology that, a lot of people do when they're young.
Sure.
Yeah, kind of like the misquoted thing of, if you're not a liberal in your 20s, you have no heart, but if you're a liberal in your 40s, you have no brain.
Right.
Um, so I was just curious, when you grew up, were you always kind of more like a right-leaning type person, or did you grow into that?
Um, well, here's the thing. My grandfather was in politics. Um, he was the mayor of the town that my father grew up in. Um, he was the secretary to the state, the agriculture department or whatever.
Secretary? Yeah.
Yeah, for the state of New Jersey. And then amongst a plethora of other political positions and, things like that. Nothing like really high up, but mostly just at state level with New Jersey in general. Um, so I grew up a lot more right leaning because my grandfather was, was certainly more of a Republican. And that whole side of my family was very Republican. My father is a Republican, always, as far as I know, always has been. Um, I think, I think as I've gotten older, um, I want to say when I was younger, I hate to admit it, but I was probably more left leaning. I wouldn't call myself a Democrat because I didn't really, when I was growing up, I didn't really give a shit about politics. Um, that was my grandfather's generation, that was their thing. Um, I didn't really start paying attention to it until until like Obama's second term and then, Trump's first
So
term.
when you were 8,
Yeah, haha, very funny. Um, so it was and growing up and seeing the world prior to um in like the mid 2000s and then even prior to like 9/11, I think 9/11 had a major impact on our country overall. Um
It had a major impact on our culture.
on our
oh,
culture, on our
absolutely.
country. I mean, that was the reason why I decided to even join. I mean, I knew I wanted to be in the army, but that solidified it for me. Um
Gotcha.
but regardless, I mean, I think that really made a humongous change because prior to that, when I was like a little kid, I mean, maybe I didn't see very much or I didn't pay attention to much, but I mean, it seemed like things were very, very different. And then after that, there was like a shift, and it's been kind of
Oh,
fucked up. It's
absolutely.
been kind of fucked up ever since. And it's
Well,
been,
Hmm.
in particular, it's been really, really fucked up after the housing bubble crisis in like
2008.
2007, 2008. And it
Hmm.
hasn't it hasn't been the same since. I don't think it'll ever go back to that. I don't think it will ever
No,
return to that state of the way that it was at that time. But in general, politics wise, I think I grew up thinking, I think a lot of us grow up kind of that way where we're kind of like, fuck the man, it's all about me and, my fucking people and this, that, and the other. And then when you grow up, you're kind of like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. you know, y- y- in general, yes, as a whole, like, we have control as a whole, but individually, I mean, I really have a hard time, you know, trying to wrap my head around one voice can make that big of a difference, especially somebody like me, who does a podcast every Wednesday that, I mean, we have decent viewership, but I mean, it's not out there, really, really big. So
Because we don't get crazy enough, right? There's
I guess so,
normal
yeah.
everyday person crazy that like in
Uh-huh.
polite society we don't acknowledge, like talking about fucking looking at porn and hedges, for example.
Sure.
That's locker room talk, but everybody talks that way. And
Right.
then there's those assholes and they
Right.
talk about shit on a different fucking level.
Right.
And those are the ones who get really big, make lots of money, and then lose it all. And then the onion buys your intellectual properties because you fucking went too far.
So
But
I don't know
I
if you
think
heard any of the.
well, I was gonna
Go
say
ahead, Mike.
I think overall as I've grown, I've always, I think in my I'd say and I mean even younger too, because I grew up even as a late teenager, as an adult, having a child really young and getting married and things like that. I think that kind of pushed me and shoved me a little bit more into the Republican side of things. As being a blue collar worker my whole life too, that's
Mhm.
always, they're always more right leaning, in general. So yeah, but I feel as though I've kind of I've kind of put myself in the center group. I see things from both sides that I feel, you know, I don't want to say I feel strongly because I don't follow politics every single day, but you know, if something gets mentioned, that is more left leaning and I'll go and I agree with it, I'm not going to say, "Oh, well, fuck all the Democrats." I'm not going to agree with anything that they have to say. I think there's justification on everybody's side sometimes, depending on what it is and depending on how extreme it is. So, that's just my take on it. So,
Well, to that point, I really think that if you really break it down,
hmm
the majority of people are leaning on the same fence.
yeah,
They might be on different sides of it, but we've gotten to such a point where the fringes now represent
hmm
the whole. And that's not really how it is because the majority of us are just, you know, we all want the same thing for the most part. And we just have maybe a slightly different idea how to get there. But
right,
the whole purpose to that question was I, I was raised by like a hippie flower child.
hmm
Like
Not the
my
guy from
mom
Seattle.
was.
Whoever saw that coming?
Well, yeah, exactly. So I'm going to kind of tie a couple of things together here because, like I was telling
You
Mike,
mean the guy from San Francisco from the 60s and 70s grew up at a hippie commune? That's bizarre.
well, my upbringing wasn't that bad, but my uncle actually did live in a hippie commune in the Oregon Coast Range in a geodesic dome where all they did was smoke weed and blow glass all day. I mean, it was like
Smoke weed and
ultimate.
make weed pipes.
Exactly.
I think we brought that up in a past episode. You learn to
We
blow
have.
glass, you
Yeah.
start with bowls and butt plugs.
That's right.
So, what kind of got me thinking about that is, when Don was talking about his mom having you know, multiple ex-husbands.
hmm
My mom, my folks got divorced when they were 10, when they were 10, when I was 10.
Boy, they did
And
grow up in the olden days.
yeah,
You're 10
so
now,
I
son. You
think
must go off and start a family and have your own farm. Or hippie commune.
so I think at last count, if she was either at 10 or 11, that, time she had been married. So it was kind of interesting. But anyway,
Your mom?
so yeah, my mom, yeah.
Wow.
So
Let me ask you a
yeah,
question. If this is too much, you can just leave it blank. Did your mom get to the point where she figured out it was cheaper to file her own divorce papers?
I'm not sure. I I think that probably the Oregon State corrections department must have their own their own legal aid thing, because yeah, she got married twice in the Oregon State Penitentiary in Eastern Oregon, and
Holy shit, your
She was
mom's in
on the
prison?
inside, or she like?
no, she married guys in prison. That was
That's
back in
Oh.
like
interesting.
pen pal days.
Ooh, have you ever talked to her like about that, like just that aspect of her life?
Actually,
Because a lot of people have questions
that
about the type of women who find pen pals and then potentially acquaintances in the prison system.
Yeah.
so so my mom was an attention whore.
Mm.
She needed to be, constantly validated. So any situation that would give her that validation, she sought that out.
And you know what?
So
That's actually a very intelligent move, right? You realize you're looking for something that not everyone can provide at a level in which you have this desire for that you can't explain. What a
Right.
better way to acquire it than a captured audience?
oh,
Here's a
absolutely.
pool of dudes just looking for someone to talk to.
Yeah, so anyway, um get this, I'm texting with my wife the other night, and she sends me a screenshot of this strange phone number, and she goes, "I'm not going to answer this." And I'm like, "Well, you probably shouldn't." So this was probably, I don't know, a week or two ago now. And so uh she ends up calling me, and she goes, "Hey, that was your sister." And I'm like, "Ah, okay." You know, haven't really talked to her in like 18 years, but whatever. And she goes, "Yeah, she was just calling to let us know that your mom died." And I'm like, "Oh, wow. Okay,
Wow.
cool." So, yeah, I guess December 23rd, um, she was like, I don't know, I guess she would have been, this is 78, something like that.
That's young.
So we hadn't spoken in
I was
probably
gonna
close to 30 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't
So
sound like you had a very close relationship with
Yeah.
your mom.
no,
That's
no,
that's
no.
and not to sound like gauche with the audience, but like if you know the type, you're like, well, there's that. Sorry, but I kind of I get it. You know.
Yeah, and the thing is it would be like if I, saw on Facebook that somebody I went to high school with died.
Yeah.
There's just there was no connection there. And but I guess my one hope is, she was bipolar and schizophrenic, and I hope that she found peace
Yeah. Sure.
wherever she ended up, because
Absolutely.
she didn't have any peace here.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, that would
Yeah,
be.
I know a buddy that's like that. I mean, him and his father had a shitty relationship when he was growing up, and he was in the hospital and was on his way out, and my buddy went down there, was talking to him and whatnot, I guess, and was just like, well, this is the end, and he's like, whatever. And I guess his father had, like regrets and stuff like that. And, it was like, well, it's kind of too late now. I mean, and it just ended up being like, look, man, I'm fine, you know,
Yeah, and
take
it's
care type of situation. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
one of those
and
strange
it's
Let
things.
me
really
give me an
interesting
address and I'll
because
send some flowers.
Yeah.
yeah, and it is really interesting though, because when I cut ties with her,
Hmm.
it was before my first son was born, and people were like, "Oh, it's really awful that you're not having a relationship with your mother," and I'm like, "Yeah, but is it?" It's like, what? In all honesty, do I owe her something?
Right.
And is the drama and the pain and agony and anguish that relationship is going to bring? I mean, what do I owe her?
Right.
That's for that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the interesting thing about growing up like that is usually those decisions put the family in environments that are similar in circumstance. And so as you go, because back in the day we didn't have school choice, right? So as you would go to school with the kids in your apartment complex or neighborhood, you all had very similar childhoods. So you didn't know that your fucking parents were unreliable and you were fucking broke as shit because everyone's parents were drunks and because you all lived in the same neighborhood.
Right.
And so
yeah.
to me, it's like there was time when I moved to Grove City and I'm like senior in high school and I'm starting to get out there on the road and meet people and go to houses like, wow, your fucking parents are married? That's cool. It was like an anomaly to me because everybody grew up. Yeah. We were on the same situation. Like, I think I could count out of my friends, maybe two out of like two handfuls. Actually, parents weren't divorced or on their second marriage. And this was in the 90s and shit.
Yeah.
So check this out. We'll play generational Wheel of Fortune here,
okay.
Man. So when my parents got divorced, it was 1981 or 1982. And they actually put the 6 kids in my school in a support group.
Wow.
For people with divorced parents. Because there was 6 of us. And it was just a middle class working neighborhood. It wasn't, it wasn't anything affluent. But there was 6 of us.
Wow.
And I bet you by the time you got to, probably 4th, 5th grade, Mike, there was probably a support group for the kids that still had married parents.
Yeah, because they felt like outsiders.
Because there was like 6 of them.
It'd be hard to say, but I mean, my parents were never married. My parents, my father and my mother got separate. Well, not separated. I mean, they split up when I was 8, and give or take. I mean, there were all kinds of fucking issues and stuff like that. So,
but hey, it was the 70s. What do we want from them? I mean, let's be honest. It's fucking 1974, 1978 in my case. The fucking 1977 was a wild year. I can't blame
them. How old do you think I am?
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about Morgan. I'm talking about, the whole, we're all complaining about our parents not getting divorced and fucking our lives up. Well, it was the fucking 70s. What do we expect from them?
Yeah. The 70s, I think, the late 60s and the 70s, I feel like were very like,
we're talking key parties and cocaine stacks. I mean,
like very, very like, oh, let's party and we'll hang out for like 6 months. Oh shit, I'm pregnant, and then all of a sudden,
I just had a great thought. Here's a video meme, right? You got all these Facebook, TikTok posts, whatever memes of upside down pineapples. Ooh, upside down pineapples. Ooh, swingers. Ooh, they're swingers. Meanwhile, there's fucking ladies in their 70s and 80s like, bitch, I got a bowl full of keys in the kitchen. This shit ain't new. We were doing this in the 60s and 70s. All those people who were having key parties in the 60s and 70s, they're in their 70s now. You're all trying to be all, look at this new society we have. Pineapples. Ooh, upside down pineapples. Now, OGs are like throwing their fucking keys in a goddamn bowl. Bitch, please. And then before them, they had some king with his hair. Oh, please, sir. I have 83 maidens at my disposal.
The royal scepter.
The royal balls are clean, sir.
Yeah, when I was growing up, that was very, very common. I mean, one of my good friends growing up, his parents stayed together until the very end.
Yep.
His mom passed away from drinking. I don't know what his dad passed away from. I mean, recently, within the last his mom passed away, I think, like
carrots
in the last 6 years. and then his dad passed away like two years ago, I think. So, but I mean, they were together fucking his whole life, and his brother, who's like 8 years older than him, and his sister, who's like 7 years older than him, or some silly. They were together back then. So, that was rare to see as we were growing up. Like another good friend of mine, his parents were together up until like they got out of high school, and he was the youngest of, again, three. So, and then my wife, her parents, they split. They're no longer together. Of course, they waited until both their kids were out of school.
That's the thing. You'll see people wait until the kids are off to college and like, okay, I'm done looking at you.
Yep.
And but we're all kind of narcissistic in our own way, because here we are, and our entire generation does it, right? But our parents got them. Yeah. We didn't give our parents enough credit because they got divorced, but then they got remarried. They've been together for 30 fucking years. For some reaon, the second marriage doesn't get credit, and we all need to remember that part of our childhood.
My
too.
Parents now, I think they're on like their 24th anniversary or something like that now.
So my dad, in-laws were married for like 50 something years. I mean, like maybe even, I don't know, like 58 years or something like that. That a real long time.
I think my grandparents were going to hit their 65th wedding anniversary or something like, it was something like that. They were in the 60s, which is completely unheard of. Completely unheard of. That doesn't happen. And that's the generation that, most of us have looked to for the past 50 years as, that's the example. And it always has been, and that's
right.
And I think, some people get down and out. I certainly have, I've gotten down and out about stuff like that, where it's like, man, I'm on my second marriage already. My grandparents, all they ever known was each other, and they made it until they both died. They were together that whole time. So it's, it's interesting to see how things have changed from back then to now, especially if you look at, all different kinds of things. He probably, Don, he probably notices stuff like that too, doing World War II stuff.
Yeah,
and reading up on history in general too.
Yeah, not to get too overly philosophical 100 minutes into this podcast, but you got to think though, if we're honest with ourselves, it goes reinforce that, maybe there's something to the whole no sex before marriage shit, right?
Good point.
When you got an entire generation of people, they do it one time, like, ooh, that feels nice. You're going to do that with me for the rest of my life? Let's go. And so you go off, you form a family, you're happy. But, as we get more progressive and things change, and jokingly the key parties and the roaring 20s where, all that crap started, as the decay of religious society broke down, people are like, well, that's awesome, but she said she'll do that. He said he'll do that. It's like, and so the whole thing.
You can get it anywhere.
The whole thing kind of options, and that options break shit, right? Yeah. Maybe that's some reason those arranged marriages you hear coming out of, parts of Asia, people staying married for 45 years because that's all they know. And they're like, hey, I'm happy with this.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're onto something there too, because I watched a documentary about, marriage and arranged marriages and everything. And first of all, marriage is almost like a labor contract.
That's exactly what it is. It's a
way to save money in taxes. Because, you're going to go into, basically the business of creating a family and a farm and, whatever else. And, we've developed it over the years, this notion that, you have to have the feels before you can get, before that's the right person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where back in the day, it was like, you're good for me, I'm good for you, we're going to learn to love each other. And that's really what we've gotten away from is, that, and I think that's part of the reason why the divorce rate's so high, is because when we stop having the feels,
it's like it's 65% now.
Yeah, men
insane.
and women these days, do not get along.
Oh, you know what's crazy? I saw this
Can't
comedian.
stand each other.
I saw this comedian. He pulled out stats. He was talking about the divorce rate, and he said, "Do you actually believe it or not? And this is true. The divorce rate amongst lesbians are higher than any other group." And he said, "Even women can't fucking stand women." He said that goes to show who the problem is. If there's more lesbian marriages getting in divorce than straight couples in divorce, then you know the problem lies. It's with the women.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, societal, you know, things that society deems
Pornography.
as
No, seriously, my
acceptable.
grandfather and my grandfather's generation, they would jokingly tell you, "Oh, when we were 15, we'd go down to the train station and watch ladies pull up their skirts so we can see their ankles when they're getting up on the
Right.
fucking." Think about that. You're a society
see
where
that
you're
kind of
getting a
stuff.
chubby from seeing fucking 3 inches. Did you see the ankle bone on her?
Yeah.
I'll be back, fellas. To
Yeah.
now, you know, you fucking well, it started in the 80s, you know. They went from the swimsuits to in the 30s, girls were getting fines for wearing 2 pieces to, you know, now basically just go to
They literally
beach
wear
in a
strings.
Borat uniform and you're good to go.
Or fucking they put tape on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They just tape. Because
Yeah.
legally, if it's covered, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it just you know, things that society deems as, you know, and back then that society deemed, you know,
We have decorum.
inappropriate and stuff like that, and things, you know, in between
decorum.
in marriages in general, and you know the difference between men and women and stuff like that. Now all this, you know, we shout equality and stuff like that from the rooftops, and you know, things have changed so much. I mean,
Look at me. Look at me. I understand that no one wants to see this topless anymore. 10 years ago, my running photos, I'm all fucking topless. Now you see my videos, I got a fucking shirt on, a vest on. I understand no one wants. I understand that society doesn't want to see this out in the road jiggling. So just return the favor, right? Can we get back to,
Right.
hey, no one wants to see this. I'm going to fucking cover up. If you could do the same, particularly on a bus, a plane, I don't know, at the fucking public library with my kids, that would be awesome. But no, it's just a free-for-all. Wear the least amount of shit you want. And it's just like...
I saw a girl walk out of Target the other day. She was wearing a spaghetti strap top with the shortest fucking Daisy Dukes, and it was fucking 40 degrees out.
Well, when I
it was
see
cold and
that,
she's wearing
when
the
I
shit, I'm
see
like,
that at
what
the
the
Z
fuck
old
is wrong with
man,
you?
well, I can tell you what the fuck's wrong with her. It's not her, it's us. As the people who live here, we forget that this is the destination for Indianers, Tennesseans, Ohioans, New Yorkers in the wintertime. So they're coming down here, and fuck you, baby. It's island time. I'm not putting on clothes until I leave. So they're going to Publix in the bikinis and the cover-up tops and the on a 50.
I guess so.
So, oh yeah, to me it's absurd. To her, it's fucking
Yeah.
spring. It's winter break. They're on vacation.
Right.
And so,
Right.
yeah, because I'm like a team, like, who the fuck wears a bikini? Oh, yeah, we're in Florida. That's who wears bikinis in public. The mom and her family from Minnesota who's gotten to get some subs on her way to the beach, even though it's 28 degrees outside.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not just here, though, either. I mean, even 10 years ago, walking through fucking Walmart in Murphy, North Carolina, you would see some pretty fucking skimpy-ass outfits.
Fucking Murphy, North Carolina, at a Walmart. Well, I was complaining about
Go
the
figure.
It's not exactly a vacation destination.
well, yeah, we just, I don't know.
Just as a society, I mean, that's what
I was thinking about this the other day. The whole trend now is dudes in gray sweatpants. You know, oh, I like a guy. And I have flashbacks to the old Seinfeld episode where they're talking to George about the only people who wear sweatpants in public are people who just given up on life. And I keep thinking about that episode. Like, if you don't care, wear gray sweatpants in Publix. It's just, you know, we used to joke about shit like that. You know, you wore sweatpants to the gym or around the house, but when you went out, you at least put on some fucking jeans and a t-shirt. Now it's just like, I have a pair of sweatpants with one leg and half a fucking shirt, and I'm going to town.
Yeah.
But I guess we
Of
deserve
course,
it.
you
So-
say something now, and then the younger generation, they're like, "Oh, well, you know, back in the day, you used to wear fucking bell-bottom jeans."
No, I didn't. My parents did.
Fucking,
Fuck you.
Fucking JNCOs with fucking carrying a fucking
Okay.
Walkman in the back.
I'm going to
pocket.
say it. I don't care which fake-ass Gen Xers get pissed off and tired. JNCOs was nothing more than some corporate shill who saw what we were doing in the skateboard community. We were poor. We were going to the thrift store when you were at 28 and you buy a size 32 pant, you put on a belt and you move the buttonhole, and we were wearing baggy ass $3 pants and corduroys. And so skateboarding was frowned upon. You couldn't be a skater in the fucking 90s, particularly in the Midwest. You were considered short of a gangbanger. Yeah. And so these kids, the nerdy kids, that's right, I said it, the fucking nerdy kids at school, hey, Mom, there's these really cool guys at school, they skateboard, and they got these really big fucking pants. Okay, well, where do I get really big fucking pants? Well, someone must have overheard these moms wondering where they get really big fucking pants. He said, I know. I'm going to make really big fucking pants and make them available in JCPenney catalogs and Sears catalogs so that the fucking moms of these nerds who don't know where a skateboard shop is, or the idea that these kids are actually just poor going to the thrift store, my boy wants really baggy skateboard pants. Oh, here they are in the JCPenney catalog. Here you go, Steven. Go be cool. Hi, guys. Look at me in my big pants and my fucking airwalks. How cool am I? You're not. In the words of George Carlin.
Oh, no.
In the name of George Carlin, you're not cool. You're chilly, and chilly ain't never been fucking cool. I'm so tired of these I'm so tired of these fucking Gen X TikTokers pretending like fucking JNCOs were the end thing. No, you're a fucking nerd. You're a loser. Your fucking mom ordered them out of the JCPenney catalog, so you felt like you're fucking part of some subculture, and then you and your nerdy friends discovered fucking corn and ICP, and then your pants went way out the fucking window, and you became a fucking laughing stock. Knock it the fuck off. JNCOs were never cool.
The ones that took it way too far were like, and even a lot of the fucking frat bros and that would fucking. There's this one dude on TikTok actually that still wears fucking JNCOs.
The douchebag with the rollerblades.
The rollerblade guy,
Fuck
yeah.
that guy.
That was the epitome of a frat bro in the 90s, I feel like.
No self-respecting fucking rollerblader, because I had my time. I skateboarded for 14 years, and I did some street fucking rollerblading for a short period of time. Yeah. No self-respecting fucking rollerblader, even in 1993, was caught dead in any fucking neon bullshit windbreaker on with their JNCOs. No, you're a fucking cliche version of what you're trying to be. Knock it the fuck off. You know, those styles existed, but they existed in their little cliques, you know. The skateboarders, we weren't wearing fucking Abercrombie and Fitch, or we weren't trying to look like the Gym Bros in their fucking neon bullshit. You can't cross that up. It looks like a random fucking avatar in Call of Duty Online. Knock it the fuck off.
But you're talking about him. Yeah. That's the thing.
He's got a point. He's got a fucking point. You're talking about it.
But you're talking to the guy who's a fond user of triple dots. Not interested. Because Carol will do that. She'll be, oh, I hate this fucking guy. And I'm listening. You've been watching for 2 fucking minutes. You hate him so much. How about you swipe so you're not giving his algorithm a boost? It's like, if you truly hate these people, not interested. Do that enough times, guess what? They stop showing up, and it's quite nice in here. I don't have any dancing videos. I don't have any half-naked women. I took years in pride going through my follow list, because in the early days, TikTok wanted you to feel special, so they were giving away likes, right? I'm on my fucking following page, and I'm seeing like videos from like fucking 12-year-olds. I'm like, fuck you. I had to go in there and unfollow them. And they were doing that a lot just to try to build people's like counts up so they felt special. Mm-hmm. And I like, anytime a video of somebody who looked like they're fucking below 19, I'm not going to have any. I just hit not interested. So after a while, my algorithm, all that shit was nice and filtered out. Just fishing videos and Boston Terrier videos. And yes, it's an echo chamber, but I got rid of you fuckers. I don't want you in my world.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
And it's a lot nicer.
That's what we want, though.
Yeah.
You know, we all say that we, want diverse opinions, but we really don't. We just want to surround ourselves with the stuff that we like, and people who like what we like, and
we all want yes men.
That's how life stays peaceful.
We all want yes men in our lives, but then you become boring. You become boring. You need someone to. And we're all guilty of it, right?
Especially as you get older, you become a lot more boring.
Well, and
as evidenced by me.
Well, you did, and we're all guilty. I was like, oh, I listened to this guy's podcast. Oh, I'm not gonna listen to him talk to fucking Bill Maher. And you turn off. Say, no, wait a minute, stupid. No, and you force it, and you're like, wow, I actually fucking enjoyed that. And you have to do that. You can't allow yourself to actively not listen to something because of the content. And I was thinking about this for whatever reason, I think this morning or yesterday. One of the biggest problems we have right now is, for whatever reason, we are really big into the cult of personality. You got people who just think Trump is the second coming of the devil and needs to be gone, and then you have people on the other spectrum that fucking he may be the golden fucking calf. He's the second Messiah. He can't do no wrong. It's like, holy shit, on both sides. Yeah. What is up? Stop falling in love with fucking politicians. They are not supposed. You're not supposed to be infatuated with a fucking politician or hate. You can like a dude, and you think fucking okay when he does good shit, on call him out on. When he's a dickhead, I'm gonna say it. And you cannot be a big fan of somebody, but these people who want to spend so much time, it's like, dude, he's a politician. He's an asshole. Your best case scenario is that he's just an asshole. And I'm talking about everybody. Anybody not professional, at the baseline, they're an asshole. The question is how high or low, what level asshole they're going to be. And so if everybody has a baseline of an asshole, do not prop them up. You can enjoy them. You can give them applause, but stop fucking turning these people into either the devil or the second coming of Christ, because it's just fucking everything up.
Well, there's extremism in everything, so.
But it's gotten to where we just try to idolize everything. Everybody wants to be a celebrity, and it's just.
That's exactly it, and that's part of the problem that we have with politics now, is that we've gotten away from where the politicians work for us, they represent us, to we're minions of the politicians. And I think that, unfortunately, it's probably going to take something pretty extreme to undo that.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Stop idolizing fucking politicians. You can pay attention to them, you can check up on them, but stop idolizing them, whether it's a positive or a negative idolization. Just stop doing it. Wake up and just pay attention to what's going on, and I'll be so much fucking better for it. And to what, I know we're running a little long, but to what Morgan was saying earlier, and I wanted to jump in on this. You made a reference to Twitter, and how social media and all that, something along with having an impact on where we came as part of the big change. Mike was talking about 9/11, right around the time internet started blowing up, social media and this and that.
Yeah.
And Twitter got to be, in my opinion, the biggest problem to where we got that's what it was. Morgan was talking about somehow we got to the point where the smallest groups had the loudest voice and got the most fucking attention to them, right? And I always attested that to Twitter. And here's why it's Twitter. Nothing that Twitter did originally and intentionally. But when all that shit got to the crescendo, we got to remember what was going on in social media space. And I saw it firsthand because I worked at a radio station, and I had to sit in on fucking conference calls about how to utilize to the best of its ability the latest algorithm change in Facebook. They would literally pay consultants to tell them the new rules. Just not to get too deep in the weeds, but it got to the point where Facebook said, look, if you have a public profile or a company profile, i.e. a radio station or a radio show host, and you guys post a post that has a date, a phone number, and an event, something that we know you may generate revenue off of, we're not going to share it. Your fucking share account will go through the floor unless you pay us. And so, okay, we'll take a picture. So instead of typing out our new algorithm actually scans your photo. If your photo contains more than 15% text and or phone numbers, you have to. So I'm saying all that to say this. What I noticed at that time is anytime you'd go onto the news, right, whether it's CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, anytime they were interviewing anybody, it doesn't matter if they're a politician, an author, a comedian. Remember this, everybody only shared their Twitter handle. They wouldn't go up there with their Facebook profile. They wouldn't go up. It was always Twitter, always Twitter. And I realized that Twitter also didn't, at the time, have that algorithm. So what the Mediascape discovered was, if I have someone come on our interview and send them to Facebook, they're not going to get all the text and posts from this person because Facebook minimizes it and charges them money. Twitter doesn't do that. Twitter doesn't care if we put an entire post about advertising or talking about this book or talking about this article. They're still going to allow the maximum amount of people who subscribe to that particular channel within reason to see those posts. You weren't at that time getting penalized for trying to boost your product, your image, your name through your social media handle. And so since the people knew they'd get a better return on their posts and their content on Twitter, opposed to Facebook and Instagram, everybody started going to Twitter. Well, how do you promote Twitter? Well, now you have all these news stations, these media personnel, these talking heads. They're talking about how great Twitter is because they need everybody to go check out their Twitter pages in order to see their content. And so the media ended up doing interviews. Do you see what he said on Twitter? You know, the rest of us who don't use Twitter are like, who gives a fuck what they say on Twitter? Well, they do because they have to make everyone think Twitter is the fucking universe because it's a universe to promote their product with the least amount of interference from a tech company who wants money in order for their content to be seen. And so they all had just talk about how Twitter was the place to go for conversation, and everybody had Twitter handles. And that's why when these little minority groups, we think everybody should be able to dress up like a penguin on Wednesdays. And, you know, they starting to get numbers. Wow, the fucking Penguin on Wednesday groups, they're getting fucking big. They got 2,000 people using hashtag Penguins on Wednesday. Shit. In our little universe, the rest of the world don't give a fuck about Penguins on Wednesday because we stopped using Twitter because it's a cesspool. But these people, the politicians, the media, they live in that cesspool because they needed it to bolster their brand. And so what happened? All these little fucking Penguins on Wednesday groups start getting propped up as influencers because CNN brings them on to talk to them because, once again, Twitter's the fucking place to be. So they built up this artificial world in Twitter as this public space so that they can boost their content. And then all the crazies that Morgan was talking about earlier, they got voices too. And that's how it seemed like the entire world and society got changed by the opinion of a handful of assholes on Twitter. And luckily, love them or hate them, when Elon Musk fucking bought it, that shit came to an end, either by choice or by fucking lack of voice. Either you went somewhere else. And so now you see people putting their Instagram handles up, their TikTok handles, their Substack handles, because now the media no longer props up a single location in an effort to boost their brand. And so that's how Twitter and all that bullshit came to fucking power. It's because you needed these group of people to pretend like this one app was the end-all be-all in order to push their brand without any major influence from the fucking tech company. And that's how all the Twitter bullshit and this, you know, Penguins on Wednesdays, that's how it all got pushed into fucking mainstream America and changed our laws.
That makes sense.
It's like, you know, I used to, when I worked in radio, I'd talk to Stan about this in real time. I'm like, you know, back in the day, we didn't have social media. You had newspapers. You had newspaper editors. So when the crazy guy sent the letter about being a penguin on fucking Wednesday, the editor said, this guy's fucking nuts, wad it up and throw it in the trash. Well, now all the crazies who want to be penguins on Wednesdays, they have their own fucking publication. They have their own newspaper and they're the fucking editor. And not only are they the editor, now they got to find content for the people they're trying to appeal to. And so shit just gets inflated. Did you hear that Bob Ross farted on a kid in church? Oh, no. And then they all go run with the Bob Ross farted in the kid in church because
propaganda.
Because they need people to come to their newspaper so they can publish more of their fucking ideas. And so before everybody had their own newspapers, you either had real newspapers with editor or you had that weird guy selling the fucking magazine he made at Kinko's for $1.50 in a gas station parking lot. And it didn't get traction, and so the crazy people didn't rule the fucking world. And so that, my friends,
now they do.
Is how society collapsed in a nutshell. Thank you so much. We'll be back with you next week on another episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Please head to what'sinyourhead.com. Click on that Patreon link, sign up and subscribe. It goes a long way to do what we do here. In the future, we'll be talking about this guy. This is the Stopbox keyless, electronicless gun safe, so that if you have kids in your house and you conceal every day, you can set the combination and it's locks, and so you don't have to worry about securing your firearm in the big gun safe that you have buried behind all your T-shirts in the closet. Yes, we know you do that. And so you can put this in your book bag if you're driving to work. You know, I get it. If you're going to be armed, you should be armed at all time. I get it, Steve. You're working on a construction site. I'm sitting in an office chair in an air-conditioned environment for 8 hours. I don't need that digging into my spine, but I don't want to leave it in my car, leave it unsecured. So this fits my book bag, and so when I'm not wearing it, I can lock it away and still get into it pretty quite easily. So we'll get into that in more detail. But yeah, if you want to check it out, head over to stopboxusa.com/D410. But anywho, we'll talk to you all next week.